Okay, so Janelle is over here and she's motivated and wants to make money.
Yes.
Right? That's why she comes in all ready to go every day, all excited to learn. And so we tried to wrap up yesterday with a lesson on how do we sell a property that we get into contract, and we're deciding that we want to learn wholesaling. So young Jackson here wants to learn wholesaling. Wholesaling is by far the easiest way to get into real estate with no money and no experience. Okay? The world doesn't care whether you're 18 or 68. The world does not give a shit. No one cares if you work 100 hours a week or sit in your basement smoking a bowl, right, George? Mad at the world that now you're 26 and you're still working at Starbucks. Right? So you see, life doesn't care. Only you can determine if you want to be successful. And real estate is one way to get in. If you have the ability to learn and go find something that somebody else wants, the world will pay you something for that. Right? Because you're like, I don't have any money. That's the great thing about wholesaling. You can learn how to go find, source, bird dog, look, talk, to get people excited about perhaps selling their property, and someone will pay you for matching those two people together. That is all wholesaling is. Now, you have to learn, what am I looking for, and then how do I sell it, right? Which is what we teach. It's super easy. Like, we got a little off track because this is the problem when we have a whole lot of people working in lots of different divisions is when people catch something and they think somebody else is selling it. So we're going to pretend that Jackson here wants to be an independent real estate acquisition and wholesaling person. Right?
Okay.
So that means you don't have anybody else here.
All right.
Right? So business in a box. So what you're going to go do is learn how to wholesale. Right? Which to learn how to wholesale means you've got to go find inventory in the marketplace where supply does not meet demand, or you got to get a screaming deal. That is the only time somebody's going to pay you for wholesaling or for bringing property to the market, okay? And whether you want to do a Tony Robbins analogy from 30 years ago where he said he met a guy, and he said, if I make you $4 million, will you give me one of them? The guy said yes, and he went and made him $4 million, and the guy gave him $1 million. If you can add value to other people's portfolio or find them something they want, you can make a fee. Now, you can go be a broker to do that and work through the broker portal and all the broker rules, or you can go be an independent entrepreneur and go find something, okay? The difference in wholesaling is you are not representing anybody. I want to get that across. If you're a broker, you're representing either a buyer or a seller. Even if you're out bird dogging for your buyer, you're still representing the buyer and putting an offer together for the terms and conditions of your buyer. In the world of wholesaling, we're trying to get an opportunity in our hand and decide if we're going to buy it or whether we want to hold it up and see if someone else will pay us for what we found. You with me there? So you tried to work for another wholesaler and you got one deal done, primarily looking for fixers, distress, pennies on the dollar property, right?
Correct.
Which is a niche, and that is the primary niche that is on the internet. Everybody's getting all excited. People are going to lose their jobs and lose their houses. Oh, how exciting, right? Jackson works hard his whole life. Shit, he loses his job, he's going to lose his house. I'm excited because I get to come take your house. I'm being sarcastic. I'm not, because I don't participate in foreclosure distress because of that exact reason. I don't think that's a very exciting niche. Hoping somebody else falls down, because I've fallen down. I've lost millions and millions of dollars through the cycles, through the Great Recession, through COVID. So I don't feel good when somebody falls down. I'm trying to look for something where simply this person could sell it to 100 people. There are no others, and we get them to sell it to us under favorable terms, and we can buy it, or we can hold it up and someone will pay us for finding that deal. You got it in wholesaling? Okay. So we spend all this time, money, and energy creating all these opportunities through our lead generation business, right? And then you get something, and I say, okay, we're going to place that one into our portal of other real estate people and see if they're interested in buying it, okay? So you can go create your own website, right? So if you were doing this all by yourself, Jackson, you'd get a deal. Let's say you got a deal in Everett. How are you going to sell it?
How am I going to sell it?
You're an independent entrepreneur. I've taught you how to wholesale. I'm taking you through the steps. So if you want to join me as a partner, you got in this house. If you're on the internet and you want to be a partner with us, we will take you through the steps of how to become a successful wholesaler and how to find off-market leads, how to negotiate and put it in contract, right? And you're going to do that all by yourself, or you can mentor with me for a year and I'll help you do it. Right? Yep. If you want to partner with me, we're going to split, we're going to go through it, but I'm going to teach you every step of the way. Okay? So let's say we taught you how to do lead generation, and you talked to lots of owners, and eventually you got some signed contracts that we helped you write, and at that point you're like, okay, I got this house, and it's vacant, and the tenants moved out, and Zillow says it's at 500, and I got it at 420. Now what do you do with it? Because you're independent. You're not in this house yet. So if I were teaching you, and I'm just saying, I'm pretending you have done this on your own, now you've got to do something with this contract that you have a house for 420. You have to determine what is it, right? So we were going through all this in our analysis of negotiating. How did we get it in contract? How did we do the inspection, or how did we take a look at it? What's the seller's goals and objectives? At some point, you got a contract written. Right? And Janelle's been writing some contracts and figuring out how to negotiate and try to get an analysis of this. And simultaneously in our mind, while we're negotiating to purchase it, we're also turning our hat around and going over and saying, okay, if I do get this, what do I want to do with it? Right? And so let's pretend you're 21 years old and you want to buy your first house. Okay? Right? You might negotiate differently than if you're trying to find it for a builder. Maybe it's a tear down. Maybe it's a rental house. Maybe you can build 6 houses on that property. I don't know. All that comes into the analysis we teach on every single property. Okay? But this is how I bought my first one. Gee, I don't have any money. Would you sell it to me for owner contract with nothing down?
Usually no, but in this case you could.
Usually no. It depends on how motivated you are, Jackson. I want to buy a house. And the guy's like, wow, this kid is intense. Like, he wants to buy this house. Maybe I'll help him out. No, kid, I can't do it for 0 down because it cost me 2% to sell it, but I will sell it to you for 5,000 down. You're going to do all the work, right? You're going to get over there. I'm going to see you working on it. You're going to fix it up?
Yeah.
Okay, I believe in you. That's a different negotiation than what's your best cash price to close in 20 days. See the difference?
Yeah.
Guy's going to loan you $400,000 with no money down. Hey, that's fine, great. That's one conversation. You want a cash out price, maybe you're negotiating at $350. Okay? But once you get it into contract, you have to determine, what do I have, right? So let's go to the house in Green Lake. You got a house in Green Lake. So we've figured out what we have.
Right.
We have the lowest price house in Green Lake. So then we have to go to terms, because that makes a difference. So again, is it cash quickly? Is it owner financing? Is it closing on permit, which we do for development sites? You look at the property, the seller, and the contract.
Cash out.
All goes in your mind, right? And then we go to be the owls again, which would be, who would buy this, right? We have a lot of owls.
Yeah.
Who? Okay. The first two is, who the fuck's going to sell it?
Hopefully.
And Janelle goes, they are. They are.
No.
And then I say, well, who blasted it? And you said, they did. And then I said, where are the responses? And Robert said, I haven't seen any. Okay, when I have the best, lowest price property in a neighborhood and we blast it out and somebody says there's no responses, that tells me,
Yeah.
me as the manager of you people teaching you to be successful, that something didn't go right.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there was a disconnect in the way that we were blasting it, and so I had some more clarity yesterday.
Okay, so at the end of the day, and this is where I started this whole conversation, nobody gives a fuck whether you make a check this week, other than me.
Right.
Right now, if you're under my mentorship, if you're my partner, I'm gonna be, and I know I come across hard, but I only want people that wanna fucking succeed, okay?
Right.
So people that are successful, people that are out in Seattle or Puget Sound who have worked with me and do what I do, make a lot of money very quickly doing exactly what I've taught.
Right.
Okay, so if that's just wholesaling, people can go make $250,000, $500,000 a year working 20 hours a week just wholesaling because they know how to play match game. They know how to negotiate and they know how to sell it. They already have the buyers, they're just finding the sellers. As soon as they get the deal, they're calling 4 people, one of them writes them a check for $35,000. Okay, so nobody cares if you're successful except me, and I gotta make sure you wanna be successful. You will find in this room, whether you're online or in here personally, if you're not doing what I ask consistently, you will find my attention starts drifting away from you.
Yeah.
Meaning, I've tried, and you're not running the plays we ask you to do, okay? If you simply do what I say, you will have success. And I don't care if you're 21 or 69 or whatever age you are. Anybody in here can do it, okay? If you just simply do what I say, okay? So this is back to who. You have to sit here, and when you came in, I said, write down your goals for the year, write down your goals for the week, write down your goals for the month. I want to make $10,000 this week. To do so, I'm going to sell 2 properties, right? And then you've got to go make it happen.
Right.
Okay. It helps if you got a good property. So you see I get excited when I say, this should sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay? We have the lowest priced property in Green Lake. We have the lowest priced property in Magnolia. We have the lowest priced property in Magnolia by $500,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Wouldn't that get you excited?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I know when you do this thousands of times, and this is why when I mentor people, from where we get the lead on a property, to the coaching, to the contract writing, to now what do we do with it? Are we buying it or are we gonna wholesale it? I know by my coaching strategy what will work if you listen to me. Where we get sideways is people like start, I can say go this way and they like start, walking and then thinking that's better, and no, that's not the right way. At some point, I'm like, fuck, I don't care. Go do whatever you want. I'm done trying. I'm done trying to teach you to be successful. Okay? So if we have the lowest priced home in Green Lake, you, in the world of wholesaling, how do you get it out in the world?
Have to blast it.
You have to put it out there because it's not in a broker portal. In the top websites, now you can go for sale by owner websites, there are wholesaling websites, but you can't go put it on Zillow, and it's not in a Northwest Multiple Listing broker portal. So, if it is a standalone, and this is the hard part, if this was a tear down or a fixer, that's a different marketing plan than if it's a residential owner occupied property. So when we go to who is your highest and best use, on this property we determined that it's either an owner occupant or it's a builder, right? So I went 2 different directions. I went owner occupant or a builder. Okay, so now that's 2 different marketing strategies. Okay, now I'm going to jump down here because every fucking call and conversation you have should be cross-promoting. Cross-promoting. Okay? Jackson, if you're calling somebody seeing if they're interested in a property, we send them a proposal and they're talking and they're like, no, I don't want to sell the 4-plex, I'm going to keep it right now. You have a checklist of conversations, which is, oh, that's great. Do you have anything else you would consider selling? We buy houses, we buy apartments, we buy land. Anything you consider selling? No, I think I'm good. Next question. Are you still buying? All these people that own investment properties are either buyers, sellers, or they're maintaining their portfolio. So you catch a guy who wants to buy, as soon as he says, yeah, I'm looking to buy myself. I've been trying to buy more 4-plexes in Kelso Longview. Oh, great, we buy a few. Sometimes we have some we can't do anything with. Can I send you something if I get another one? Boop. Now you got a seller list, now you got a buyer list. And you build those lists. That's what a wholesaler does. You are a connector. You're trying to find sellers and you're trying to find buyers. Every conversation is that, okay? So you're promoting what we do and what we're looking for. How this trickles in, Janelle, is, okay, there's a builder list. You can go to every builder that's building in Green Lake.
Yeah.
You can go to every builder that's building in Magnolia.
Yeah.
Are there a lot of people building right now?
No.
Builders are down. Why are builders are down?
Interest rates.
Because Joe's having fun driving this fucking thing right off the cliff. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Right? We won't get too political today, but interest rates are fucking up like this, so activity is like that, okay? But you might be fucking working at Starbucks pretty soon if you don't learn how to do this, right? No offense to Starbucks, but you're a little young for Starbucks. You gotta be like 28 to
That's true.
38. 28 to 38 is kind of their niche sweet spot. You got your 4 degrees, you couldn't get a job.
Starbucks it is.
Starbucks it is, baby. Let's unionize too. Because 28 an hour isn't enough for making coffee.
Right.
That's what they make.
With tips, probably. Okay. See, we have fun here too, Jackson. Okay, so you've got to market it. We're going to market it both to builders and to owner occupants. Okay, how do you find owner occupants? How do you find somebody that's looking to buy their first house in Green Lake?
Yesterday, you gave me some advice to talk to the brokers of homes that have recently sold in the same area, see if they're looking for other properties. Or just, brokers that sell in that area in general, they might have buyers.
Sure. So
One way.
and this is the hard part if you want to be a wholesaler. You got to get a thick skin, okay?
Yeah.
I have really thick skin, even though I can get hurt because I'm human too. But you got to learn to have a really thick skin because wholesaling comes with a little bit of a stigma. Okay? And that's how we've done it different for the last 35 years is we've always tried to add value to wholesaling and we don't participate in distressed. So we've kind of developed a first come first serve approach to wholesaling. There's no bidding wars. We work with brokers. We're just trying to create positive transactions. Okay? So you have to get that across, okay? And the problem with wholesaling is, you're assigning a contract, you're not assigning the property. You do realize that. You're selling a piece of paper to buy the property, but you're not selling the property.
This might be off topic, but what is a good way to reach out to brokers? Like, how would I word that in a way that doesn't come across as like used car salesman or anything like that?
Well, here's the simplest approach, which has some success and doesn't, okay? So, let's just say you want to go to 100 brokers. Sorry, we gotta go, this is 100 brokers, okay? So you pull a list of all the people that have active pending sold in the last year in that zip code, within a mile, single family houses, some townhouses, okay? And you could call them or you can email them. An email pitch is simple, send a picture of the property, it says off market, and I think it's easier when you personalize it, but it takes time.
Yeah.
Which is, hi Lisa, saw you sold the one on 79th, 74th, 76th. I've got an off-market opportunity, seeing if you still have any clients looking to purchase in the neighborhood. Give me a call, Janelle.
Okay.
Okay? And that's a less invasive way, because then if they call you, they've seen the email and they're interested in the property. Okay? When she calls, it's like, hey, it's Janelle, I do off-market. I work for one of the top, purchasers of off-market property and wholesaling in Seattle for the last 30 years. We have this one in Green Lake. Do you have a client? If so, we think the highest and best use is either a builder or an end user that wants to buy it.
Okay.
Have you dealt with off-market before? If they're calling you, they already will do an off-market deal.
Yeah.
Okay? If you called 100 brokers, you're going to get 50, arrogant answers like, I don't do off-market.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's illegal. No, it's not. People do it every day. Okay? Generally, when you're talking, and again, 100 brokers, 20% of the brokers do 80% of the business. So you got to find those 20 brokers. Most of them will work with you regardless. Or you can just do your pitch. We buy off market. You get any hardcore fixers, any apartment buildings, anything, give us a call. We'll pay you 5%. 5%.
So wait, so if they find any off-market properties, you give them 5%?
Sure. That's the hook.
Okay.
You like that?
Yeah, I like that.
Look at it. She got all, hey, what? Whoop, you got a private jet? Maybe I like you now. Okay. Right? So, see how she perked up? So she was like, what? What? You mean to tell me that if I'm tell a broker if you can bring me a deal, I'll give him 5%? Yep. Or we can give you a 2.5 going in, you can have the list back when we sell it. 5%. See how that turned into cross-promotion?
There we go.
Every conversation, everybody in this business should be cross-promoting, buying, selling, connecting.
Or
You find me a property, I'll pay you 5%.
also, if you are going to blast out a property, always mention that you have other properties as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay? Number one thing when you're talking to a broker, what does a broker want to hear?
How do I get paid?
So that's the second criteria. How can I help your business? Okay? If you start every conversation with a seller, with a broker, with a buyer, everybody in this business is, how can I help your business?
Positive.
Right. How can I help your business? Is there something you can't give for your clients? We are an expert at off-market acquisition. Okay? So how can I help you? Sounds different, right? It's a different pitch.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Yeah, you got to deal with the people throwing mud at you, but that's okay. You got to have a thick skin. Okay, so we figure out who to contact. You got to get it out there. Okay, which I said you got to put up your own ads. If he's an independent wholesaler, he's either got to go to his current list of buyers, which is probably going to be distressed wholesale buyer list, okay? Or you got to go find those buyers, right? Which is pull a data set of people that paid cash in the last 12 months in the neighborhood, seeing if they're buying investment property.
So to do that, I think you mentioned the other day that Chris knows of a way to look at people who have recently pulled permits. How do I find people that have paid cash? Is that
It's PropStream will do it.
PropStream? Okay. I've never done that.
So, yeah, so I'm teaching all the things to be successful in wholesaling, and we're doing it really quick because there's so many things to cover that we're jumping around.
Yeah.
But the main point of this was, how do you, as a person, market your property to sell it? Or help me market a property to sell it? Okay? Which it takes work. You've got to have the calls, you've got to have the conversations, you've got to put it out there. Okay? So, you've got to post your own Craigslist ads. When I say post your own, it means post your own fucking ad. Meaning you have your account, you put a teaser ad up, lowest price home in Green Lake, maybe not the actual picture of the house, something similar. You don't give the address. It's called a teaser ad. Why do we do that?
So they call?
So they call, but so they don't go around you and just call the owner.
Because it's tenant occupied as well. You don't
Correct.
want people to show up at the door.
Right. Yeah. Morning, Robert.
Morning.
Morning. Okay. So back to who? The only person that fucking cares if you sell it is you if you want to make a check.
Right.
Okay? So I'm trying to teach you how to make deals happen. You have to post, you have to call, you have to talk to brokers, you have to take the conversations, you have to put the frequency out there in the world, in the internet to make it happen. You could create a standalone splash page. You could do pay-per-click. I'm just giving you all of the possible things we do to market a property. Okay? Craigslist is cheap and easy. Doesn't cost a lot of money. But again, you got to filter 70-80% of the Craigslist hits are just noise. So you got to find the one, okay? You could go blast it to brokers. You could try and find investment buyers that are buying in that property. The trouble with trying to find owner-occupant buyers is 9 out of 10 of them are tied to a broker. So that's why we end up trying to talk to brokers, okay? And we're happy to work with brokers. I love brokers. Deals are deals. It doesn't really matter. The complexity when the broker comes involved and says, yes, I have a client interested, is we have to stop, give them a presentation over the phone of how wholesaling works if they have not done it. How their client can get in the property, how can they have a 72-hour period to go through it, how they can decide, but at the end of that 1-day, 2-day, 3-day period, they have to commit with non-refundable earnest money, replace our earnest money, and pay our fee.
And then they also have to pay the broker.
At closing, they'll have to pay the broker at closing. But so you've got to get over that objection, which even, our own in-house person yesterday was arguing. Because we have to break you of the mentality that sellers pay commissions.
Yeah.
Sellers do pay commissions out of buyers' money. They don't go to their closet and pull out $60,000 of their own cash and give it to the brokers. They wait till you bring in $1 million, they carve off $60,000, and then they give it to the brokers. So it's getting people to understand net versus gross on selling commissions. Okay? Questions, Jackson? Not yet? You soaking it all in?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you had a property and you got to hold it up, then you got to get somebody excited and interested, right? So you got to get them through the process, how to market it, action items, you got to get it out in the world, you got to call, you got to talk, you got to cross promote. And then as soon as you get somebody interested, then what? Got to get them through the process of understanding what the property is, how it's available through the contract, and you have to posture. Because they're going to look at you and they're going to go, Jackson, how'd you get this, kid? Oh, I'm good. I negotiated the contract. Oh, when's your contract expire? 10 days. Okay. What's the seller's phone number? All right? They're going to try and go around you.
Yeah.
So you have to present that I got lots of people interested, and if not, I'm going to buy it myself. Really? You got 400 cash? So what are you going to say? You say, yes, my dad's my partner, and I got plenty of fucking money.
Papa Jim.
Papa Jim. Daddy's right around the corner. Okay? And I'm being funny because at 21, if you're going to wholesale, people are going to try and steamroll you.
Yeah.
Because you don't look like you can perform.
Fair enough.
Which, when you're going to right now learn to wholesale, having a partner that's done thousands of them, buys hundreds of properties, gives you credibility. Right?
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be selling yourself as Jackson. You should be selling yourself as Jackson who works for a guy who buys 100 properties a year. See where I'm going, the difference?
For sure.
So you can learn the steps of how do I talk? How do they negotiate? How do we write contracts? How do we do cash out? How do we do owner financing? What is it? And who would buy it? All the steps to learn to being a good wholesaler. Okay? Or for being a top deal maker, acquisition person for somebody that buys 100 properties a year. Really bringing people, deal makers in and teaching people to do this is, it helps us because we hope we buy half the properties you find. So all you have to do is go negotiate for the terms we want and it's sold. You got a done deal. Right? Which is if we say you go find apartment buildings with favorable owner financing, reasonable rate with 10 to 20% down, we're probably going to buy them all day long. Everybody else will too. That is the thing that everybody wants. So it has value to us or it has value to other real estate investment people. Okay? So Janelle, nobody cares whether, the world doesn't care whether you sell it or not. The only people that care are you and I. So, and this is the hard part when we have a team and support structure is you have to take ownership of something and say, you know what, I'm going to fucking sell this property this week. And I'm going to call until I do it. And so I know we chase a lot of rabbits, but you know, when we're done chasing all these rabbits, at the end of the day, we're like, focus, get 2 properties in contract a week, sell 2 properties a week. That's how you make $500,000 a year. But you got to slow it down to say, okay, I have this property in Tacoma. You repeat the step for every property you get in contract.
Yeah.
And the number one person to sell them is the deal hunter that got them in contract because they know the property the best.
Yeah.
They generally have the relationship with the seller, even in person or on the phone. And at that moment, right? Mm-hmm. Pretend I told you, Janelle, we're going to sell the Magnolia property. Right?
Yeah.
So we have the cheapest house in Magnolia right now, and we have the cheapest duplex in Magnolia with room to build behind. And if I said, let's just wholesale it, which I wouldn't because it's such a good deal, but let's pretend I did. You'd go through the steps. Who am I going to sell it to? Investor, owner-occupant, a builder. Goes to all 3. Now you got all 3 bases covered.
Yeah.
I'd say blast it to our group of 20,000 people that buy properties, see if anybody's interested. We could post on the internet. We could go to Craigslist. Okay, we could go to brokers in the area. You could do all the things. But then the next step would be people want to get in it. So we'd say, okay, guys, I got a bunch of people interested. We're going there Friday from 10 to 11. Be there sharp. I'm not waiting for nobody. We're getting in. The owner's going to be there. Please just let me handle it. If you have any questions about the property, that's fine. But anything about the contract, Let's talk about it after you do your tour. I'm going to be, first come, first serve is our process. I'll email you our process of how we do assignments. And I guarantee you by 11 a.m. you would have 3 people saying, I'll take it. Okay?
Yeah.
Then you have to go through each one, give them the paperwork, and say the first person that wires their earnest money and pays their assignment fee, we will assign this contract to you. No bidding wars, we state our price, okay? Now, at that point, you would have to call the owner, get access again, get back, meter, quarterback it. That is wholesaling a property that's in high demand. So then Robert would push it and say, we're going Friday, but if you want to commit now without seeing it, I'll send you all the pictures. You can go walk around the outside. If you want to do it, you can jump to the front of the line. Which people will do.
I think something that would be good from now on when we get properties and contracts, when they sign, like the second they sign, set up the tour and the walkthrough right away. Because I think something that's been happening with some of the properties that we have available right now is people are interested, but it's hard to get people to get inside of them because it's hard to get all.
But you can't get inside these properties multiple times. So it is a balancing act.
Like schedule it out for even 2 weeks later, and then anybody who's interested, like you said, can show up at the same time. Because I agree, getting in and out multiple times is not ideal, especially if it's tenant occupied. But also not being able to get it in at all, how can you sell a property if nobody can look at it,
We do it all the time.
I know, but that's been my biggest thing that I've heard lately.
I know.
Is I get a lot of interest, and then I can't, the next step of looking.
So what property have you not been able to get in?
Tacoma Triplex one, South Tacoma.
Which one?
Phoenix.
Yeah, this is where you have to understand. You have to understand these properties are with unique, I'm going to say weird owners, but let's use the term unique owners with unique tenants at unique prices.
Yeah.
So they're not retail fucking showrooms. Okay, so they're weird, Santa's workshop of weird toys. You have to learn, if you're gonna be, this is where we started this conversation 20 minutes ago, you gotta get a fucking thick skin because you're selling a weird property could have value if you get rid of all the freaky tenants and can deal with, getting the weed out of the basement, right, George? Your grow room out of the basement, your shroom room. Do you grow them? What do you do with them? Okay. Right? You don't have a shroom room, do you? You got to deal with just all the weird shit. So it is hard, okay? And that's probably kind of why when you go to sell a property, I think you'd be good because then you can be more firm.
Yeah.
It's the polite word. I was going to use the B word, but the firm word is, look, this is the deal. I'm getting in this property once. I got people interested. Its access has been a pain in the ass. The tenants are a fucking pain in the ass, but it's priced really good or it's got these good terms. So we're going. Here's our process. If you're interested, I can meet you there. You have to be firm, but then you will find out that half of your buyers drop out. They're not interested. They don't show up. They say they're going. They don't go.
Yeah.
And so it is a learning process of what we teach you how to qualify potential buyers and get them through the steps to commit.
And see who's actually serious about it.
Right. So just like acquiring properties, I'm teaching you the live probability of that. As soon as you have a property and you want to wholesale it, you're telling me the information of the people that are interested. And I'm giving you a probability of success and how to get them through the funnel to commit or to filter all the people to the end person that ultimately buys the property. Okay? So it also works on wholesaling and buyers. Any questions on this topic today? Nobody cares, Jackson, whether you're successful. Maybe your mom does, but no one else does. So you've got to get your mindset. I got to make the calls. I got to take the action. I got to learn. I got to do what he says and do exactly what we say, and that's how you can learn how to acquire properties and wholesale.
All right.
Okay? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Learned a lot.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
Good one, George.